Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with another knife review for you. Today we have kind of a unique one. This is the HK Exemplar made by Hogue Knives here in the US of A. This is a gun branded knife. That's part of the reason why I haven't reviewed it before. I don't know. It's just, let's face it, guys. In the knife community, a lot of knives with gun company brands on them have not been awesome. A lot of them have really sucked. So that was kind of something I just kind of immediately ignored it. But they are made by Hogue. I do really like Hogue. They're I think one of the best quality manufacturers, pound for pound, that you can find. And so that knocked it up a little bit. They also make knives for Sig Sauer, which are basically just rebranded versions of their knives. But the HKs are different designs from what you can get with the Hogue name on them. Benchmade used to make HKs. I don't know what happened there. That it's switched now. Now Hogue makes them. Potato. It's still a lot of Benchmade-esque qualities have gone through the lock system, stuff like that. So it did sort of, maybe I'd try it out. And then a bunch of other reviewers tried it. This is from the Pass Around group, so this is, I'm not the first one to review this by any means, but Hogue was nice enough to send it to us. Very much appreciate that. But a bunch of people I really respected said they really, really liked it. So I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. And if I was going to try any gun branded knife, it would be HK. I'm not a big gun guy. I've made that clear on the channel before, especially in the live shows. People always ask, what gun do you carry? And I say, I don't. But I do have a bit of a relationship with Hogue, a bit of an affection for Hogue, I would say. I was in the U.S. Air Force. I worked with NATO most of my career. And I was on a tiny little German air base, and late at night sometimes I'd have to get issued a weapon for, whatever various purposes, and the U.S. Armory was closed. So I'd have to go to the German Armory and get one of theirs. I was qualified on several of their guns, and it was usually an HK. It was usually a P8 or a P12 or occasionally an MP5, which I was really excited about. They weren't, but that was very, very rare. That was only when they had nothing else. But man, those things are fun. I just, every time I held one of the HK handguns compared to my Beretta M9 standard duty weapon, I just liked them so much better. So I remembered that I really liked the HKs, just the quality feeling and stuff. So I thought maybe they didn't put I thought HK wouldn't put their name on a knife that wasn't really high quality, and they didn't. This is definitely a super high quality knife. It does cost $127.50, and for that cost, you were getting CPM 154 steel, which I really like a whole lot. It's one of my favorite steels ever, I think. G10 handles with these nicely sculptured little grippy things on here. These are not stickers like a lot of knives are. These are just molded or milled into the G10. They work great. They look great. And you are getting the Hogue, what they call Able lock. They're not allowed to call it the Axis lock, even though the patent expired. They can't call it Axis lock, but it is basically the same as a Benchmade Axis lock. A little bit different though. The Hogues always feel a bit different than the Benchmades, I think, in a good way. But there you have it. I've heard that maybe the springs are a little thicker, but I haven't verified that, so I'm not really sure. I hate tearing these things apart, so I have not torn one apart and put calipers to or anything to verify that. Anyway, very, very well made. Let's do some stats and size comparisons before we get too much farther. You have a length of 7.9 inches, blade length 3.25. You have a blade thickness of 0.12 inches, handle thickness of 0.59 inches, and a weight of 4.26 ounces according to my scale. It's not a lightweight for the size that it is, but it's not a tank either. Let's do some size comparisons here. We will put up in our little Spyderco sandwich. You have, we're going to do them in reverse this time apparently because I grabbed the wrong one. The Spyderco Para 3 here on top and the Spyderco PM2 on the bottom. Try and line the pivots up here. You can see it's kind of halfway between them, much closer to the PM2. Cutting edge, it's even closer if we try and line those up. Let's try and line those against that line there. Yeah, cutting edge, very, very close to what you're getting on the PM2. compare it against a couple of Benchmates here, since, you know, they got basically the same lock system and all that stuff. We have our full-size Griptilian up here on top, the 551. Very, very similar in overall size to that, but you see you're getting a little bit more cutting edge on the grip. And the 940. 940 is a bit longer, but much more slender, obviously. And lastly, if you're into Hogue products, which in my opinion you should be, whether you like the designs or not, their quality is fantastic. I almost grabbed one of my cleaning cloths with it. We have your Hogue Ritter RSK Mark 1-G2. What a name. I can't believe I remembered that. A little bit smaller than that in almost every dimension, but similar. But you can see identical thumb studs and everything. It's not like Hogue's trying to hide that they're made by, or HK's trying to hide they're made by Hogue's. I mean, it says so right on the blade. But, yeah, you can see the same kind of markings and stuff on them. But the knife itself, what do I have to say about it? First of all, most important thing, the blade. The edge on it is just fantastic. Hogue always does such a good job. They always have these nearly mirror polishes on their blades, which is just gorgeous. And this has gone through the pass around. I think I'm the last one to get it. So it still looks really great. CPM 154, like I said, I have no problem with that steel whatsoever. It's honestly one of my favorites as far as being able to very easily put a screaming sharp edge on it. I primarily just use a Spyderco Sharp Maker to touch stuff up because I have so many knives that, you know, it's just easier to keep them touched up than have to reprofile and all that stuff. And if I can put a screaming sharp edge on this with a Sharp Maker in no time at all, then you probably can too with a, you know, more sophisticated system. And it holds an edge plenty long enough. That's why I like CPM 154. It's just I think it's a great all-around steel. I've never had a problem with it. About 23.5, 24 thousandths behind the edge. Not dramatically thin. And you do have this not super high flat grind. Fairly thin blade stock though, so it's a pretty good slicer. It's not fantastic, but it's pretty darn good. And the edge, screaming sharp out of the box. This has gotten passed around, and it still was pretty good. Slicing paper and all that stuff would be better, you know, if it was brand new. As far as the tip goes, this wedge is going to kind of hide it. It's going to make it look thinner than it is, but it's actually a pretty good tip here. It's not a bad piercer. I mean, I wouldn't want to go prying stuff with it, but it's not like a dainty little tip that you're going to worry about snapping off or anything like that. As far as the ergonomics go, mostly really good with one very much not good. I will say that it fits in my hand very well. Large size gloves, fairly skinny fingers, and it fits pretty good. It fits great. All four fingers fit on good. The little cutouts hit my fingers very well. No problem there. The jimping is great. I love that it's just the right amount. There's a lot of it, but it's grippy without being super sharp, and this isn't a flipper. So normally on a flipper knife, you would see that and be like, oh no, when I go chink, it's going to scratch my finger. This isn't a flipper. So you don't have to worry about it. It's just axis lock or thumb studs, and no need to worry about it. So that's really good. This choil, like, you can choke up on it. It's not. It's a bit. You got to be a bit careful, but you can if you need to. I really like in this little harpoon cutout. It works really well. It's a great place to put your hand and a great place to do detail work and stuff for your thumb. I really like that. Sometimes harpoons seem a bit. You know, they're just there for aesthetics. This one definitely is not. This is definitely a useful place to put your finger. I do really like that, to put your thumb. But ergonomically, that's big problem is this big sucker back here. This pocket clip, I don't get it. It's a real hot spot, definitely. This loop over in the back digs right into the palm of my hand. It's hitting me right here. I don't like it, and there's even a little secondary hotspot from this ramp, and I just don't understand it. This is kind of a tactical knife, and I just don't get why it needs the deep carry clip. I think if they'd have put a regular clip on it, that looped up like that, I think this would be a much more comfortable knife in my hand. And even if they were married to the idea of a loop over clip, they have a better one, like at their disposal. Like this, the one they use on the Ritter. Obviously, they'd have to widen out the screw holes, but I mean, this is smaller. I think this would be better. It's still tall, but it's not quite as tall as this one. I don't get the clip at all. Not a fan. It's ugly. I don't like it at all. Not just ugly in the way it looks, but ugly in the ergonomics. That clip's got to go. And I don't know if there's any patterns that match up with this. I have no idea. As you can see, they're pretty wide apart, the two screws. So probably not. But maybe this is meant to go like on a utility belt or something. Maybe that's why it's so huge. But not a fan of that clip whatsoever. It does carry well though. We'll go through that. I mean, I have no problem with it there. It's not super tight. I was really thinking this was going to be a pocket destroyer with this grippy stuff. It isn't. Not at all. It slides in and out of the pocket very well. The tension on this clip is excellent. Carries deeply, obviously. It's a deep carry clip. Your hand slides right by it, and there's no sharp anything to touch your hands as you go by trying to reach in your pocket. That's very nice. It is fairly low weight, 4.3. It's not crazy towns heavy, but it carries really well. But then you have this sticking out, and that ain't pretty. I mean, I don't mind the branding on it. I don't mind the HK. I don't think a lot of people know even that would be a gun company. Nobody's going to think you have a gun in your pocket. But man, it almost does look like a holster clip, doesn't it? Maybe that's what they were going for. I don't know. But it does look almost more like a holster clip than it does a knife clip. So it carries fine, except for the way that it looks outside the pocket. So brings me to my overall conclusions. This is a really great knife. It really, really is, other than this pocket clip. I don't get it. But other than that, I really like this. I would absolutely carry this if it wasn't for that pocket clip. It does come in other colors and styles, by the way. You can get it with a blacked out blade. You can get it with, I think it's tan or OD green handles. I don't remember which one it was. And you can get it with a partially serrated blade. I really want to love this, but that pocket clip just kills it for me. I honestly thought I was going to get this into review, and people raved about it so much I thought I was going to go out and buy one. I'm not. I like Hogue, I like HK, and I love the overall design of it. I really like the way they did the grippy stuff. It would be a really nice, just kind of grippier, knife for those kind of situations, except that pocket clip. Now, I got it. If you have gloves on, it'd probably be fine. This would probably be a great knife to use with gloves, but when you're using it with your bare hands, I can't deal with that. So, wanted to love it. I love a lot about it, but overall, I gotta say a pass on this one. But I hope you guys have enjoyed the review. I've been Brian. Have a good one.